Okay guys, welcome to Clunkers and Classics. I'm going to make a video on what work I've been doing to my 85 Corvette. Now, when I started YouTube probably 9-10 months ago, something like that, I made a couple of videos on this, but it only got a couple hundred views. One, I think I went over the history story of it, and then the other was painting it. So I'm going to add them in to this little video that I'm making right now, which is okay, to make a short story, long story short, because I think most of the stuff is covered in the other videos, which I'll add on after this. But I took it in on trade about 5 years ago. I drove it for a little bit, nothing wrong with it. It had lots of power and everything. And the tags ran out and I just left it parked. I would start it up every now and then, and one day when I went to start it, well, the fuel pump went out, but I went to turn it over, and just from starting it, it bent a rod, seized the engine just from trying to start it. So I ended up putting another motor in it. I did paint it red. When I first bought it, it was white. Paint was bad. Painted it red with some cheap eBay paint. It faded out real quick. I repainted it. That's in another video that I'll put on the end of this one. So now that I got another engine in it and it's running good, painted up, it's base clear now, so it should last. I want to get it all tagged and you know, make it like a daily driver. So I'm trying to fix all the little stuff. So we'll go over some of the stuff that I did. These hood struts, when I first bought it 5 years ago, were out, and they went out again. I replaced them, they went out again. I just now replaced those two. I believe there is some rod or something that comes up, a manual one that holds it up as well. But if the shocks are in good shape, it holds it up. Okay, and this engine, you know, it's an 85 Corvette. You look it up for the interchange, only an 85 fits. I don't know what the difference is, whether it's just all the tune port stuff or whatever. But this engine that I put in it ended up being, well, the whole engine, everything was from another 85 Corvette, but the block is a 1970 to 72 400 small block, and they must have swapped the heads because regular heads won't fit all this tune port stuff, so they must have put Corvette heads on it and tune port stuff. But anyway, and it's souped up. They got headers on it, there's all roller lifters, there's a cam in it, all kinds of stuff done to it. But it's got a lot of miles on it because it was all gunked up with oil. Still runs great, but everything underneath was all gunked up with oil. Looks like it has 1 million miles on it, but who knows. Okay, so the first problem I have, and I don't know why it did it after putting the engine in, but the electric fan would come on at 235 degrees, and then it would shut off at like 215 degrees. So that's not enough. It should be running at about 180. So I couldn't figure it out, but now I think about it, it's probably a sensor on that engine, although I don't know whether it was running that hot in the other car or not. So anyway, I rigged up some wiring and I just run the fan directly to a ignition. So when you turn the ignition on, start the car, electric fan comes on, just runs all the time. And now it runs at whatever, between 160, 180. It never overheated, even though I got up to 215 or something, but there's Kitty coming to inspect. Okay, so then I had problems with this door, the power window. And first it was a switch. It took, well, I took it all apart and swapped out the whole regulator power motor, but then that ended up being a cheap aftermarket one that didn't work worth a shit. It's really thin regulator and everything. So I found out that the original motor worked, and it was just a bad connection or something, so I put that in. But anyway, over the past 5 years, I probably had this door apart 3 or 4 times, fucking with the damn thing. So this last time, it was getting no power to the power window motor, and the switch is right here, and that there's nothing wrong with that. I thought that was out, so I ended up cutting the wires, and I bought another switch, and then I run it's getting power to this door through other wiring. The problem with this car, it's got a lot of wiring in it that's just, well, you know, it's what is it, 37 years old. It's probably okay when it was new. Well, probably not, but for an 85, it's got a lot of wiring in it that, I don't know, it's problematic. So it had power, like, you know, to the light here and everything, and I just couldn't figure out how to get power to that thing and make it work. So I just run a positive and a negative right through this door here to the battery. What are you doing, kitty? So just run a positive and a negative into here, and then bought this switch, and it's just you put the power here in the middle, and then when you hit it, that'll be down, and then you hit it the other way and it goes up. Okay, so I got the window to work, so now I can drive it and actually go through a drive-through without opening the door, and I can roll down the window. So I'm gonna stick it right in here somehow. I gotta glue this little mount here. Got a JB weld that mount because it's all screwed up. Okay, so that was main. You know, you would think it'd be an easy thing to figure out, but I'm screwing around with that so much. Okay, now the second problem is the digital gauges. They're very problematic too, and you can actually buy them rebuilt ones off eBay for a couple $100. But this one works. When you turn the key on, you could barely read it, and it's got all this stuff here. Oil pressure, and then you can swap it to oil temperature, coolant temperature, switch it to volts, the range, fuel, how many, you know, gas gauge, how much trip meter, and all that stuff works. Speedometer, tack, everything worked, but it would just barely light up. So what, let me take this off for you so you can see here. Let's put them all back. So what really lights it up is 4 lights. 1, 2, 3, 4. They got them covers on, so it reflects the light into the gauges, and it's just supposed to light up like a Christmas tree. Well, no matter what, these 4 lights wouldn't come on. You turn the key on, you know, you could barely read everything. You couldn't see it during the day. If you were driving like with sun out, you couldn't read it. So it was no good. You drive it during the day and you couldn't see nothing unless you sat down there really squinted. And so I had one here from a parts car, and I got another one under there, but I think I think both of these are the wrong year. Even though the one come out in '85, I think someone swapped it or threw it inside the car. The other one I think come out in '84. Guy had his part and went out years ago, because this top, when I bought it, this top here was just cracked right here, and it was just flopping and banging around. And I found a guy parting one out and bought the top, and then I took the gauge there. You know, the guy was an idiot. Bought the gauge for like $5. But anyway, it doesn't work. It's all different. Okay, so I've had this thing apart a couple times over the years, and I can't figure out how to get these goddamn lights working. So I plug in one of the other gauges, although the gauges don't work, you turn the key on and all 4 lights light up. So I'm getting power in here. It plugs in right in here. So power goes in. So, you know, it's two circuit boards in behind there. And I'll put that on later. You can take it apart, little, not 1/4 inch, but little small bolts there, and you take it all apart, and it's got these connector things. So I finally found out. I just used my little tester here, and the main, it plugs in here, but the circuit board connects up in here. There's a big, I don't know, 16 pin thing that connects the two boards together. And the one I showed you, the old one, with the lights light up, it would get power at this one connection, and this one didn't. So I just run a power wire to that pin that's supposed to have power, and then run it to power coming into my plug, a power one. So you turn the key now, boom, all 4 light up. Need the covers off there, but they light up. So now you can see all the gauges. See, and you couldn't see them before. It wouldn't light up. Just a little green light type things would light up. Okay, so I'm fixing to put all this back together because I got that working. Now it may freaking catch fire and burn to the ground. Who knows? I'm no expert on that stuff. But these 80s has cheap plastic, and plus it's been apart I don't know how many times. So all these little things are all busted. This goes over here. You know, all little things are busted off. People that don't know what the fuck they're doing just take it apart and just pry them and bust them. Crap. Over the years, there's that. And then this is the middle piece here. As you can see, it's got busted ends on it. It's all busted up here. That goes on after. Well, this actually goes on first, and then this goes on second. So that's what I'm fixing to do, is put all this back together, because I got the 2 main issues fixed, the dash and the power window. Now those are the 2 main issues. The car, you know, still needs a lot of work. I haven't checked, but I think I can buy a dash cover, just one of them carpet type covers I might put over there. If not, I can take this apart and fix it like I've done before, but it's not I don't think it's an easy dash to pull. It might be, but I haven't had it apart. That's cosmetic stuff. Same with this horn here. It used to work, but I don't know. It's all fucked up. And put some. Oh, can you even see it? I'm not even showing you. It's all melted there, and then this. It was 2-way tape to go on there, but once it was on there, the horn did work. But yeah, they make these, but they're like $100, probably a little over 100 now. So I'd like to maybe get something like that. I don't know if I want to spend $100 on it. And then all this carpet here, but I'm not gonna probably do anything about that. The other side's bad too. Maybe later on, but see, all this plastic here is all busted, and so as far as weather stripping, I bought this weather stripping here a little while ago and put that on there. It wasn't, I forget how much it was. It wasn't that much, okay, but this rubber is very expensive, like $250 or some shit. Or was it that, or was it 400? And it goes across. Actually, this roof here, I kind of siliconed it in a little bit, because I got some silicone here and there, because I just kind of put a little bit on there so it wouldn't leak rain in there. So I may do that, not this video, but I may order this new stuff here. I did put, see, it gets power to that switch too under there. This wouldn't get power to the, then I put new trunk weather stripping on it. See, this carpet here is all faded too. Here's those other gauges there and there. I took off all the emission smog pump crap, but I put it in the back here. These are some little extra parts. I think this is the thing that holds up the, manually holds up the hood, but I haven't put that on. There's just some little extra parts. And don't ever buy these from eBay. I put them on 5 years ago when I first painted it. They all melted and all came apart. I had to buy them again, because what are you going to do? But who knows how long they'll last. Probably not very long, a year or two, front and the back. Okay, and then I bought this. I think this one here lasted. This Corvette emblem here. Okay, so I'm going to get all this together, and of course I never had a video of this car driving, because I have to put it in my name, the title and tags, which I've never done on this car yet. And I got to pay a lot of penalties. It's $1 a day penalty, maximum $200 for a year, maximum 2 years. So it's like $400 in penalties I'm gonna have to pay to change the title and get tags, plus your tax and registration. It's gonna be over 500 bucks just to. That's why I never did it when the motor went out or it needed paint. I just kept putting it off. I should have done it when I first bought it, but anyway, that's what I've done to it up to this point. So what I'm going to do is put all this together. I'm going to order some stuff that maybe the weather stripping, maybe a dash pad. Seats are in really nice shape. They're power, they all work. I may order the horn cap. Stuff like that. And then I'm going to wash it, get it tagged maybe next week, and then we're going to take it on a drive, test drive. The original motor in here, this thing was very fast. I'm a little anxious to see how fast this one was. The factory motor, and that thing was just fast. It would just hit the gas and you just put the car, if you're turning a little bit or something, hit that gas, you'd go sideways. So it was just real fast. Okay, so that's the plan for this video. At least get all this stuff put together, wash it, take it for a test drive, and then I'll add those other 2 videos on there. So it's going to be a long, you know, an hour long video or something. But I just been spending so much time, I figured I'd put a little bit of this work I'm doing on video, and then if it works out, then I'll drive it. Not every day, but at least I can just hop in it and go. Don't have to worry about not reading the gauges and overheating or, you know, stuff like that. So anyway, I'll be back in a little while. Okay guys, I got it all washed up. Fixing to go for a test drive. All the gauges working. But I'll turn it back on when we get out on the highway. Okay, I'll see you in a minute. Okay. He's got some power. Sideways. Stop up here and put in some fresh gas. Well, all their pumps are out of premium. I had to put in regular. Yeah, if I hit the gas here, I just spin around and do a 360. Pretty fast. I hit the gas, I don't know, I was probably doing about 60 and I hit it. Almost felt like the back end was going to let go. Like start sliding, spinning. Which reminds me, the tires got really good tread, but the sidewalls are all weather cracked. Gas too much here, I'd end up in the ditch. Anyway guys, this is the first time I've driven it in about 4 years on the road. So subscribe, like, comment, share, all that stuff. We'll see you next video. thanks for watching. And like I said, I'm going to add on the other two old videos of this, of me painting it and stuff. So if you want to watch it, if you've already watched it, then, you know. But anyway, we'll see y'all next video. We'll be back to the Nova. I'm almost done with another video on that. So we'll see you next video. Welcome back, folks. I'm gonna go over my little red Corvette. It's a 1985. I painted a guy's truck for, he traded me a 57 Chevy 4-door that was just a roller. No engine, no transmission, no interior. It was just a pile of junk, but it was rust free, which was a good selling point. So I would have painted it, or painted the guy's truck for about $1,000, but I took the 57 Chevy in on trade, and I put the 57 Chevy up for $4,500 or trade. And the guy asked me if I wanted to trade the 57 Chevy for this Corvette. Now, it used to be white and run and drove great, so I traded it. And then it didn't need anything other than a headlight motor, and the white paint, it had a big chip in the hood and scratches that he claimed that a horse kicked it. So I fixed that and just painted the whole thing red. I think a Corvette looks a lot better red than white. So the red paint I bought was from eBay. It's supposed to have been acrylic enamel. I don't know what it ended up being, some type of base coat or something. But it did this after probably less than a year. It started fading out. It's just a single stage. And just crappy. Now it's been about 3 or 4 years. So it's just baked. So I'm fixing to paint it. Show a video of the process and how I'm gonna paint it. So I just drove it once in a while. Until I thought the fuel pump went out, and it would just crank. Well, the first crank, it would kind of acted like it was going to start, just a whoop, and then just crank over and over. So I bought a new fuel pump. Well, it sat around for about a year. I didn't even do anything. So I bought a new fuel pump, and I thought, well, I'll try it one more time. And I went to start it, and that first crank, something blew apart, and it was seized up. Checked it, so the engine had seized up. So it sat around for a while longer, and then I finally found now I found out that the 85 was a 1-year only motor, because it's a tune port. And so I wasn't sure exactly how to go about what engine I could put in it, since it's got somewhat of a computer and everything in it. But anyway, I lucked out, and I found an 85 Corvette parts car. The front end for it's sitting over beside the garage. Let's go over here. The doors, the guy I bought it from took the front end. I don't know why he dismantled it, but he bought it for the interior. There's the doors, and here's the parts car I bought. Now, I bought this car for $1,000 for the engine, but I knew I could sell the rest of the parts for well over $1,000 and make my money back. In fact, I just sold the whole front end for $200, front suspension, and he claimed the third gear went out in the transmission, so I just left that in there. So I took the engine out. Here's all the remnants of my old engine. What it had done was a connecting rod was bent, and it was just seized up. so something caused the connecting rod to bend, and anyway, I didn't want to mess with it with that engine, so I took the engine out of this one. Now, I thought this was supposed to be a 117,000 mile original engine, and it run pretty good. So after I took the engine out, I run the numbers, and it wasn't an 85 Corvette engine. It was it had aluminum heads, so I couldn't get the number off the heads. But the block says it's from a 70 to 72 400 small block Chevy. The interior needs a little bit of work. The seats and everything are good in it. I'll show you underneath the hood here. So here's the engine. It had, I think they're hooker headers on there. It has aluminum heads and some aftermarket valve covers, aftermarket fuel injectors, and a deep sump oil pan. And so I figured it's souped up. And I haven't driven it yet. I mean, I got it in there. I started up, got it in there. I haven't driven it on the road yet to see how fast it was. It's got to be well over 400 horsepower. It's a little cold. Took off all the smog stuff. Smog pump's still on there, but it's not connected to nothing. I took off all the other stuff. See the manifold, like touching welded the stuff on all that crap. Anyway, it runs and drives now, so that's all that matters. So now I'm fixing to power wash all this dirt. Got 3 or 4 years worth of dirt ground into it. I'm going to scrub it down real good so I don't clog up all my sandpaper. And then I'm going to it doesn't need any body work, so I'm just going to sand it all down. See, some of this paint's all, just take a DA sander, sand it all down smooth. Then so you can see this, some of this paint is peeling here. I'm gonna have to go over the edges real good. It's all peeling. Well, it's worn off here. You can see the white underneath the edge. I have to get all the edges real good. I'm gonna clean all the jams. You can see the dirt's just built up last few years here. I'm gonna wash all the jams. Now I do have this new door weather stripping here, but I haven't bought this. This whole set here is about 200 bucks. I'll probably order that off eBay. Although it doesn't leak a drop. And the original top that was on here was one of those see-through aftermarket deals, and it was all cracked, and you'd drive it and it would bang around. This one I got off a used one, and when I latched it on there, I'd put a bead of silicone around it so it doesn't make any noise, it doesn't leak, but taking it on and off, it's siliconed on there. And these aren't the little latches, you can just unlatch it. It's got these friggin' big screws on there, so it's really a pain in the ass to take it on and off. So I figured I'd just leave it on there all the time. Got a couple little buttons for the hatchback. I got some spare parts back here I thought I might have to use. Needs to be cleaned up real good. But you can see all the leaves and stuff been built up here. So I'm going to clean all this up. Probably, I don't know if I'll have to paint the door jambs, but definitely under the trunk. So I'm going to get to work. And I did buy new emblems. Now these are another cheap thing I bought off of eBay about 3 or 4 years ago when I got the car, and I've already faded out. This one, you could probably clean that up, but I went ahead and bought 2 new ones. But the front one, the little rubber deal came off this side, so it's just cheap China junk. So anyway, I take them off since I got 2 new ones. I bought the new rear Corvette, and that actually seems to be holding up. So I'm going to take that off and retape it and put that back on there. So anyway, I will post another segment here of me sanding it, prepping it, getting it ready to paint. I'll go in the garage here. As you can see, the Chevelle, I just got done with my Chevelle, and I painted that with that, if you watch the video, Nissan 2K single stage urethane paint. Now the Corvette, I'll show you what I have. I have 2 gallons of red. One is a gallon of the, I think, that eBay stuff that I bought to paint a guy's truck, and he never showed up. I know he decided he didn't want it painted after I already bought the paint. And this is called High Gloss Candy Apple Red. Supposed to be acrylic enamel. I don't know. Now the other is it's a gallon of Wanda based. I got the code somewhere, but it's a base coat. It's got to be cleared. And had this old guy, he has dementia or something, because he come by wanting this big ass Lincoln painted red with a gold top, and I told him to go ahead and buy the paint and then bring it over and I'll paint it. Well, he bought the paint, the gold and the red, and along with hardener, reducer, all that stuff, brought it over to my shop, and then he never showed back up, and that's been at least 4 years ago. So I guess he forgot about it. So anyway, I got that red paint here. I do have the code somewhere. I'm not sure exactly what he got, but I can see it's red. This other red looks a little bit darker, but I'll probably paint it this Wanda base. So I'm going to paint it with this Wanda base base coat, and I'll have to get some enamel clear and clear it. So I'll be putting on probably 3 coats of red base coat, 3 coats of clear. So that's basically how I'm going to do this Corvette, since I don't have to buy any paint. I already got some paint. I'd rather not. I'd rather buy some of this Nissan 2K candy red is the ones I used before, and it'll last a long time, but it's about 200 bucks a gallon. So I saved myself 200 bucks by buying. Of course, I'll have to buy clear, so I'm really not saving a whole lot if I gotta buy clear anyway. But anyway, that's what I'm gonna be painting it with. So I'll do another segment here in a little while, prepping it. I'll talk to you later. Okay, folks, I'm sanding down the Corvette. When I was washing it down, the paint started peeling off. So I scraped some of it off with a razor blade. And I don't know what happened. The paint separated or something. So most of it come off. So right now I'm going to sand it down with the DA dual action sander. Now most of you have seen the dual action sanders are air powered. Well, this one's an electric one. And I like using it better because I don't have to have the air compressor going all the time, busting out my eardrums. So, show you how it works. Works just like a regular sander. Anyway, you get the point. I got 180 grit on there right now, and you just keep going over it, keep it moving. Don't be digging in one spot. Go over it nice and even, level. And then I'm gonna change the sandpaper to 320 and go over it with 320, and then go around all the edges by hand, you know, like the little edges around headlights and bumper edges, stuff like that. Go over that, and like I said, I don't think it'll need any body work or putty or anything like that. So I think after it's all sanded down with 320, should be able to ready to paint it. If it was any rougher, you know, you would seal it, prime it or seal it, and then let it dry, then hand sand it down. But I don't think I'm going to be using any primer or anything for this. I may put a coat of sealer over it right before I paint it red, but I'll have to see how it turns out. So anyway, I'll be back after I get it all sanded down. Okay folks, I got it all sanded down and ready to paint. I just washed it off. I think what happened when I painted this probably about 4 years ago was that I think I must have mixed some clear in with the red junk eBay paint that I bought because it wasn't coming out shiny enough or something. But I remember the paint was supposed to be an acrylic enamel, which it clearly wasn't. And I must have added some clear in to the last coat or two just to shine it up or something. and that's why it kind of looked like it's separated in my last segment there. Half that top coat just peeled off with a razor blade, and I think that's what it was. So anyway, I scraped all the loose stuff off, then I sanded it all down with 180, then 320, and then I just water sanded it all down with 400 wet and dry. Now, there was a few little chips that I had to go over with some filler, like right there. I think that's where he said the horse kicked it, and I had some little fiberglass cracks, so I just put a little putty in there. Now really that should be primed, or the whole thing should be sealed. So I think that's what I'll do, is right now I'm fixing to put it in the garage, then mask it all up, and then probably put a coat of sealer type stuff. It's actually sealer, same as like epoxy primer. So I'm going to put a coat of that on there, and then I will paint the red, and this time it actually is going base coat, clear coat. And I bought some good Nason. I'll show it to you here before I paint it. I just bought this from my local paint store. This Nason Select Clear with the hardener activator. So I'm going to put about 3 good coats of that on there after I put about 3 good coats of that red. So anyway, I'm fixing to do that. I will come back and do a segment of it masked up and maybe sealed. I'm not sure if I should put that epoxy prime on there and then scuff it down, or just continue the painting right after I put a coat of that epoxy primer on. But the more coats of stuff you put it on, the more chance you got of dirt and trash and stuff landing on it. So anyway, I'll be back next segment. Okay, I've got it all masked up and ready to paint. Fixing to paint it here in just a minute. I think what I'm going to do is put a coat of epoxy sealer on it. Let it dry for a little bit, and then go with 3 coats of base coat and 2 or 3 coats of clear, and that should be good. I'm hoping this red base coat covers good, but I got a whole gallon, and actually this is kind of a small car because you don't have the roof. It's kind of a medium, so it shouldn't take up a whole gallon, even if I have to put on like 4 coats of red to cover it. And what I am going to try to do is wrap this camera in plastic and set it up so I can show you me painting it. Can't do the whole paint job, but I'll have it recording painting at least 1 coat of it on there, just so you can see how it's going. So the next segment you'll see is I'll set this camera up on a tripod here and showing you me putting a coat of paint on it. I will see you next segment. Okay folks, I got it all painted. Wanted to show how I get the paint fumes out of the garage. Just have a big cardboard box there, fan in the middle. If you wanted to, you can put another piece of cardboard beside that fan. So I hope you enjoyed the video of me painting the first coat of red. I did put 3 coats all together of red on it and 3 coats of clear. And it turned out pretty good. Looks like a real going to town car now, instead of that old crappy crap that was on it. I don't think I got any orange peel on it, since it was a solid color. I didn't have to fog it like that Chevelle, and I didn't think I got any runs on it either. Came out really good. Very little trash, just a couple little specks of stuff, but still a little bit tacky. So all I'm gonna do tomorrow is unmask it, and I think I just have those new emblems to put on it. And then I got some door weather stripping to put on it, and then later on I'm gonna order the roof weather stripping and take the roof off and put all new weather stripping in the roof and the hatchback. And that should be it for this car. And I'll probably just sit around again. I'll probably rarely drive it, but at least it's running and driving now and looking good. So I guess that'll be it for this. You'll see it later on in some other videos. While I'm working on something else, I'll make another video and show you with all the emblems and stuff on it. And if I do any more work to it, I really like to get some door panels for it, maybe some little interior pieces. But for now, this is it, the 85 Corvette. And I will see you next video. Got to get another project going. I think I'm going to get my 78 Nova out. It runs and drives, but it's got needs a lot of body work, needs some interior work, stuff like that. So that may be a video here coming up, not real soon, but next couple of weeks. I'll make some videos on that and some other stuff that I got going on. So I'll see you all next video.